Show starts in 3, 2, 1. Boom! Guys, I have Christopher Tovar with me today, guys. He is a business owner. And he actually really caught my attention because he did something really interesting. Something that I have yet to see, in anywhere within like the South Central, Florence, Graham side, HP side, all the Southeast LA side.
Southeast LA.
I have not seen anybody pull up with some healthy food.
Right.
Especially, like fucking tacos, dog.
Tacos, man. Everybody likes tacos.
Hell yeah. But this episode is sponsored, by the way, guys, by our book, This Food, 7 Lessons for Burros and Bag Chasers. You already know how to tap in, hit the link, or hit me up personally. I'll be able to deliver you a copy, but just holla at me. But yes, Chris, man, so you're a guy from HP.
Yes, sir. I'm actually posted up on Crockett. Crockett right there down Nadu. I grew up there most of my life, except for 1 year that I traveled out of state. I went to HP High School. But same thing like what you said, like yet to see a taco stand, yet to see any type of healthy food like in the area. That's actually the reason why I started doing it. Me and myself, I've been vegan for about 2 years now. I made the switch about healthier food. I just didn't want to consume all those animal products. Once you see how it's made, once you see all the food in the area, you see McDonald's. Like we were talking last time, we see McDonald's, you see Burger King, you see all these burgers and fast food places. And I mean, I understand, like street tacos aren't exactly the healthiest choice, but it's definitely healthier than a lot of things going on just because it's vegan.
Yeah.
And that's actually my goal, just to reach out to people in this, exactly Southeast LA, Southgate, HP, Watts, South Central, that whole area. There's nothing. Whenever I had to go get vegan food, it would have to go to 45 minutes all the way to like Van Nuys, or I'd have to go to like Whittier or like even Downey. But even when I would travel, I would hate doing it because I didn't like the food. It didn't taste good to me. It's like, no, everybody was just doing it so it could be vegan. They didn't do it so it could be good. So it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do the bare minimum vegan. Okay, we're gonna give it to people. Like, I'm not really trying to do that. I'm doing it so people like the food, so they want to transition to more healthier foods. Yeah. So it's my struggle as a vegan when I first transitioned was I wasn't able to find any good food, so it was hard for me. I would always eat out. I'd eat Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers. That's basically what I survived off of. Like Walmart, Morningstar Foods is like, there's got to be a healthier alternative. So I'm like, if nobody else is doing it, somebody gotta do it. So
yeah, I want to tap into all that, including like the animal cruelty and all that stuff. But you were out of state. Where'd you go?
Oh, I went to Wisconsin. So
it's a drastic change.
Yeah.
What made you end up living in Wisconsin for about a year?
So right out of high school, I went to HB High. I went to go play basketball for a Division III school in Wisconsin. I was in Ashland, Wisconsin. It's a small town. Like you would have.
What's the population?
8,000. 8,000 is the population of the town. Yeah, 8,000. It was a major culture shock coming from HP. Right? You see nothing but Chicanos and minority of African Americans, and you see some Asian people, but you don't really see a whole lot of like Caucasian Americans, white people. You don't see that. So going from here as a 17-year-old kid to Wisconsin is a major culture shock because like not only is the seasons different, like you get to experience the seasons there, you get to see snow, you get to see the leaves change. You don't have cell reception, which is something that a lot of people can't live without over here.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So going from that, I feel like it was a very humbling experience to go out there and learn all that.
So what was it? Coach Reed got you out there?
Yeah. Coach Reed.
So were you the only guy from HP that went out there that year, or was there already a pipeline of people that was out there?
No, I was the first person to go from my class.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody from my class pursued college basketball. I think they just kind of stopped at the high school. But since I feel like I was pretty good, and Coach Reed felt I was pretty good as much as other people thought that I was.
Are you still? Staying out there.
I play basketball. Yeah, I still play as much as I can.
Where do you like to go play?
Anywhere indoors. If it's indoors,
because that's where it's competitive, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's private runs. It's whoever still plays basketball. Like now, after the whole quarantine thing, they actually want to play and they're actually the hoopers. It's not like just random people that go into the court just because they want some cardio. It's people that used to play college, people that play organized clubs, people that play overseas.
People that know their shit.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's good runs. It's definitely good runs.
So when did that passion and love for basketball like come? And when did it emerge?
It started when I was young, but if I'm being honest, just like many other people in the community, or at least from who I talk to, they're like, oh, I should have been doing this since I was young. I should have been doing that.
Yeah.
I wish my parents would have put me in sports. I wish my parents would have supported me here. If I'm being honest, my parents put me in basketball once when I was 6, and you know, I fell in love with it ever since then. But I always had like older siblings and like older like people around me like telling me I couldn't do stuff, and that's not something
that they couldn't. That you couldn't.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's another thing, right? That's another thing that I think about now, as a man, and I think about the times that I wasn't supportive to people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like when I was young, like 17,
right?
You know,
right.
Or like a homie had like a business idea. I will never forget this because now I think about it and I reflect on it. One of my best friends, Joe, he was telling me about this great business idea when we were at a community college, and I was like, bro, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. What? I think about it and it wasn't that dumb. I was just being stupid.
Yeah.
I was just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Whereas today it's like, I know the value of like love.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
And there's love for your homies, you know?
Yeah.
But being expressive and being affectionate is something that we're not supposed to be.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be.
Because we're guys, we're supposed to be
yeah.
tough and only rough love. But yeah, man, like thinking about it, and it's just like the fact that your own family was unsupportive of something that you love doesn't necessarily mean, I think, that they didn't love you, right?
No, yeah, exactly. I understand it now that I'm older, that I went to college a few years, that I'm a comm major, communications, so like I really took those classes and applied it to my real life. I actually was able to understand why they were doing what they're doing as I got older. When I was a kid, obviously you're just everybody's man, like things don't really make sense to you, and so you're exposed to it later on and like, oh, that's what was going on, that's what was going on. So when I took myself out of my own shoes and I was like, all right, let me see what they were dealing with. It's not anything that had to do with me. Like they were fighting with themselves, but they were just, projecting it on me. And it's nobody's fault really. Now that I, really see everybody's situation, but it's about understanding and knowing why people do what they do, and just kind of trying to, again, be understanding of what people are going through all the time. And even though somebody may not be supportive to you, that doesn't mean like they don't support you. It's just like that's how they reflect certain things. That's how they project things. But when I got older, I eventually found somebody that was supportive for me. When I was in middle school, I had this after school instructor. His name was Irving Chavez, and there was
a Gage or
no, at Edison. I went to Edison.
All right.
So Edison Middle School, in Florence Elementary, like the after school all stars and after school programs, like they're very important, because if I didn't have those, I wouldn't have had adults that believed in me. At least that I thought believed in me, and that actually showed it and actually gave me some support. Yeah, exactly. And that's all somebody really needs, just a good support system. That way they're able to, to accomplish whatever they want. It's just confidence, plan, and support. It's like just doing it. Irving Chavez and Michael Camaras, they were both in charge of the basketball program. I was a little 6th grader playing with the 7th and 8th graders. Like I got bullied and stuff, but it's just, Edison.
It makes you better, man.
Yeah, it does.
Like
it definitely does.
I 100% am a fan of being like, children need obviously a very loving and nurturing environment.
Yeah.
But you should also not just make life so simple for people.
It's not.
You gotta be tough at the same time, because real life really is tough.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially living in the economy that we live in, it's like if you can't fight for yourself, nobody's gonna fight for you.
That's true.
Right? So,
I agree.
You have to build thick skin, man.
Yeah.
Like it's necessary. So that should happen, but it also gave you a chip on your shoulder.
No, yeah,
right?
of course. Like I said, my school background is Florence Elementary, right here in Florence, close to Holmes and Graham.
Okay, yeah, seen that one.
Okay, then I went to Edison Middle School, and then I went to HP. So honestly, I was supposed to go to Fremont High School. I was supposed to go to, I think it's now called Diego Rivera High School. But I went to Huntington Park because we used a different address ever since the beginning of school, because my aunt used to live somewhere and they sent those kids to HP instead of Fremont. So my siblings did it. So that way, by the time it got to me, it was just like, oh, like his siblings.
Second nature.
Yeah. Nobody even noticed. But if I wouldn't have gone to Florence and I wouldn't have gone to Edison, I definitely wouldn't have been the person I was at HP. That's where I met Coach Reed. So Coach Reed really changed the way that I approach things and like how I live my life, honestly. And he was like a strong father figure to me when I really needed one. Of course, I didn't know that then, but now when I'm older, I know like if I wasn't for Coach Reed, my life would be way different. So I'm thankful I went to the Reed system. That's what all former players call it, like going through the Reed system. It definitely makes people like better people. He makes you grown men. Like he looks you as a young man and he holds you to that standard that many people don't do. They just look down upon you. They're like, oh, look at this punk ass kid. Like he's gonna do what he wants. If I would have went to Gage, I don't think I would have been playing with a chip on my shoulder when I was in HP. I'm thankful I went to Edison and went through those experiences because like you know, it builds thick skin. It builds that chip on the shoulder that many people don't have. Like just the difference between winning and losing games is who wants to win. Right. So if you don't want it, you're probably not gonna get it. And if you used to getting things handed to you, you know, you're not gonna work for it.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Reed always seemed like an interesting guy to me, but I was never a basketball player, so I never built any rapport with him. But I could tell he was just like, he seemed very unemotional. You know, very aloof. Like he didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew who the athletes on campus were, but he knew better than to approach them to be like, hey, I would like you on the team. Yeah. It was kind of like he was like, well, whatever's here, this is what I'm gonna work with. Yeah. And I just remember seeing you guys run a lot and just being like, nah, fuck that. That's just not gonna happen. But yeah, man, just thinking about like basketball, thinking about all the sports, and I'm just thinking about how important sports in general are, man. Yeah, I agree. For everybody. Yeah, for everybody. Definitely. I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way. I was a football player there at HP, so even though we weren't the best at my time.
Yeah, Coach 40?
Yeah, Coach 40, Coach Wilson. Those were our varsity coaches. But you know, Coach Wilson was already on his way out. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
they didn't really care.
Mentally and spiritually, he wasn't really there. He was just a guy on paper. Yeah. And once in a while, he say a couple words, but even though you're a kid, you know what's going on. Yeah. Like he wasn't really present.
You could feel it. Like you could feel when somebody wants to do something, like they want to be there, they make you want to be there.
Exactly. But I mean, I wanted to be there regardless, because I mean that was my passion, bro. My passion from like age 13 to like 19 was football. Right. Like I didn't give a fuck about anything. I was so committed, bro. I was so committed, and that commitment and hard work was what led me to be like one of the best. I wasn't the most talented out of all the athletes on the team. There was definitely more athletic guys, but
I feel that, man.
But like my passion and dedication made me better. Yeah. In many different aspects. And when you're a coach, because I coach football now, years after that, it's like you can't buy that, you know, you can't trade that for anything. Like
can't teach that either.
Love and passion, that's just like I'm in awe of that, because when we do that as athletes, there's a certain moment in time where we can no longer really be that anymore. Yeah. You know? So we have to learn how to utilize and channel that energy into writing a book, creating a podcast, you know, selling tacos. And so, you know, all those little like leadership skills and moments of passion and resilience, you're like, I need to apply this. Yeah. You know, I need to apply this. And you ended up, you know, taking it into your route. So now why did you start? You know, why did you start with the business? Aside from like, because obviously there's a necessity. Right. There's a necessity for this cleaner vegan food in our neighborhoods. But what else has influenced you?
If I'm being honest, it's not just about tacos for me. It's not just about making money. It's about just kind of like being better, like doing better, being better, trying to, you know, build myself and build for my community. Yeah, you always see people like I know this is a cliche example, but like Nipsey Hussle, that he made money in his community and he spread it back out throughout the community. Yeah. So it's like, why can't you just take control of your own community like he did? You know, buy pieces of real estate in your own community and do stuff like that. I always get offers to like, well, not offers, more like suggestions from people that come all over to come like eat the vegan food. They're like, why don't you go to Echo Park? Why don't you go to like Sunset? Why don't you go to like Venice or something to shoot, like to eat these tacos? Why don't you change it up? Because I'm like, I'm not trying to be like everybody else, and it's not for them. It's for the people that are here. It's for everybody to be able to access it here. I know I'm going a little bit off topic.
No, this is perfect.
But I actually have somebody that lived across the street for like, I guess my whole life. Like I've seen him around all the time, so like he's a familiar face, but I never really had a conversation with him. He just walked up when I was outside taking care of my nephew. He's like, oh, oye, chaval, ¿venden comida aquí? I was like, yeah. I'm like, pero es comida vegana. He's like, oh, okay, eso es lo que ando buscando, porque no hay por aquí. He's like a 60-something-year-old, 70-something-year-old dude, and I'm like, okay, like people don't really like talking to older people for some reason. They're like, they get kind of annoyed. They don't have the attention span to do it. But like, I love doing it, especially somebody that's like lived down the block like my whole life. Let me see what he's about. He said that he used to live in the house that I used to live in. I used to be there all the time, and I've lived there my whole life. So it's like, okay, you were there before. He's like, yeah, I've been here for about 50 years. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. Going from him trying to make that lifestyle change, he told me that his cholesterol was super high. He told me that the doctor was telling him he needs to change his diet, he needs to change what he's eating. So for him to find me and have access to me, he was like, I don't care if I gotta wait hours to do this, like I want food from here. I'm like, little people, like just one customer that's like that, when he tells me that, okay, I'm helping him change his life, like that makes me want to stay there. That reminds me why I started in the first place. It's, you know, to help others, of course to help myself, to have that liberty to choose my own schedule, to do what I basically please all the time, and do something that I like doing. That's not my only business. Like I do that like kind of as my part-time. My other, like I guess you could say part-time, but my full-time job would be, I'm a personal trainer. So I have a place where like I have my own equipment, my own spot, and I go and I work people out there, and that's kind of like my day job. That's why I do the taco thing in the afternoon, because my mornings I usually book with clients. But I want to have that liberty to kind of do what I want and not really feel like I'm at work. And if I can make some money while doing it, you know, why not?
It's perfect. And that's one thing that's really beautiful about that is like merging your passion with being able to build money.
Right.
And I mean, I would say like the majority of humanity hasn't really understood that concept, hasn't done it, or is just not capable of doing it. But I want to go back to a lot of your points, bro. A lot of your points about being true to your community, bro. I think that's something that's so valuable because it's obvious. It's obvious that you could go somewhere more affluent.
Yeah. Heavier traffic.
Yeah. Fuck all that. Come up with a great product, bro. Your food's fucking delicious.
I appreciate that.
Straight up.
I appreciate that.
Straight up. And trust me, bro. I'm very critical of shit. Especially food. You know? I've heard of people trying like the dragon fruit tacos and shit and all that. Yeah. I've never tried them yet, but unless, was that what I ate?
No, so
was it tofu? Was it tofu?
No, it's not tofu.
Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. But still, it was fucking delicious, right? And I was curious too, because that night I told my parents, I was like, hey, you guys want some tacos? I'm gonna go get some tacos. And then they were like, ¿de qué son? And then I was like, no son de carne, you know? And then my dad was like, nah, fuck that, you know? But I was just like, nah, I know what I'm gonna go get. So I brought it, bro. I ate it, and I told them, I was like, guys, this is fucking great. I want you guys to try it. They were so skeptical. They tried it and they liked it. Oh, right. So, you know, when a 60-year-old Mexican eats this,
oh, that's the biggest compliment.
That's how you know.
That's the biggest compliment.
That's how you know, right? So, man, being in your community, bro, people sleep on their communities because their brain and their heart and their bodies, they're so separated from, like, they're not really in tune with their own environment that they came out of. And it's for a lot of reasons. Right? Some of the brilliant people from these areas, they leave, they get great businesses, and they do their thing. And I'm not hating on it, you know what I'm saying? I would never hate on it. But then you meet again like a Nipsey Hussle. And I was so inspired by this human because it's like, you know, he's a genius.
Yeah, you know.
In art, in the streets, in the way that he spoke, even his theories of life were very advanced, and the way that he would share them with normal, average people to be understood, is like he gave us a strong blueprint, right? Right. And the idea is that
marathon.
Exactly. I mean, the marathon is the big picture, right?
Big picture.
But there's so many little steps before getting to that big picture. But the beautiful thing is like, you know, and I'm pretty sure, cause like when I look at what he learned a lot from a lot of the Black Power movements, you know, and there's so many people. There's just like hundreds of brilliant, genius Black people that have been building in their communities for a long time, right? So we all learn from each other. And so, you know, one of these ideas is like community empowerment. But you gotta like do for self.
Right.
Like you gotta build. You have to. Like there's no. I don't think there's any way around it. You have to build a business because that's the only thing that's gonna give you your freedom.
Right.
It's gonna be the thing that's gonna build you your assets. Right. And once you create like an actual pool of like real assets, you can actually give so much.
Yeah.
Like Tony Robbins once taught me through a book. I never actually met him yet.
Yeah.
So he's like, people think that you're gonna get rich and you're gonna give more, but that's false. That's not true. If you don't give when you're broke, you're not gonna give when you're more rich, right? So it's super important, bro, to stay in the community. First of all, because we like there's gonna be a 13-year-old on social media that's gonna run through and see that shit and they're gonna get inspired, bro. That's why a lot of people don't understand that what we do is not just a self-absorbed project.
Right.
It's a beacon of light. People that have an elevated level of consciousness can see it like this. The other people that are still kind of in the darkness, they don't understand. They don't see it. I know some people will never see.
Yeah. You gotta want to see.
Yes.
You gotta want to see.
But eventually they will, and that's why it's so important for you to stay in the hood. Stay in the hood. And to build something, and when the restaurant does come around, to stay in the hood.
I'm waiting for that.
And dude, I love seeing experiments and ideas and passionate people behind them. It's like, okay, do you believe? Well, for example, when it comes down to like a business, I think I believe more in the person than I believe in the product. Okay. Although they're obviously both together. Right? Yeah. I can believe in you, but you have a shitty ass product, and it's like,
it's like, nah, bro, that's it. We gotta switch it. We gotta do something else.
Exactly, man. So I'm happy and I'm very proud that your head is on.
It's in the right place.
You know.
I appreciate that. I try to stay humble, you know, as much as I can. But obviously, when like how you said, you believe in the person, like it doesn't really have to be so much of the product. Like even though the product may, you know, like just go down the drain, it may not work out, that person is always gonna find a way to make it happen, like through another way. He's not gonna get discouraged, or she's not gonna get discouraged. They're gonna keep on persevering and do what they're meant to do. They're meant to be great. Great people are gonna do great things regardless of what happens. But also, like for myself, I wouldn't be able to be comfortable like selling a product or even telling people about a product, something that I don't believe in. Like if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. If you don't want something for yourself so bad that you're willing to make it happen no matter what, then nobody else is gonna do that. It's like nobody's gonna put in the work for you, nobody's gonna make it happen for you. But it's easy to get behind something and to like put all your effort and put all this energy and all this love, like you're saying, all this momentum. It's easy to do it when you believe in your own product. So it's like selling something to somebody. It's easy to sell when you're not selling, when you're just talking about it and you're so passionate about it and you could get behind it. It's like you give person this whole great rundown on this product. It doesn't matter what it is. Like this book changed my life. This book, I was able to organize my life, organize my thoughts, and build structure that I needed. Like I would not be the person that I am today if I don't read this book. It's easy to make somebody want to read that book when that's really what you believe. Like they're gonna feel that. They're gonna know that, okay, if this book changed somebody else's life and I've known this person my whole life, let me get behind this. Let me see what this is about. It's like inspiring that little light in other people. When you give off that light that you really want something to happen and people can feel that energy, it's easy to get behind. It's easy for people to support you, but it starts with yourself. And I want to touch on something that you said earlier. It's like you gotta take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. If you don't have a strong foundation, you can't put anything on. So if you got like 2 legs, if this couch only have 1 leg, it's gonna be lopsided. I'm not gonna be able to fit more people on. So it's important that people understand, if you want to help others, help yourself, but never forget why you're helping yourself. You're helping yourself because you want to help others. So help yourself so you can help others. Like you read it in the book. My college coach in Wisconsin, I told him that I want to do stuff for my family. I want to go ahead and do this. He's like, you can't leave. You got to finish, what you're gonna do. That way you could take care of other people. He's like, of course I'm not gonna listen to him as a 17, 18-year-old kid. But now that I'm older, I understand what he's talking about. He's like, when you have your own thing going for you, when you have things going for you, when everything is great, just remember you have the power to give that to other people. But if you're not doing so good, it's hard for you to support other people because you can't even support yourself. It's like you tearing yourself apart trying to help everybody. Help yourself first, that way you can help other people.
Yeah, it's a great point to like reiterate. I love the couch example. I love because it's like balance, right? Like,
yeah.
Like when you're young, especially when we're young, we're very like our views are very myopic, right? Like this is how we look through shit.
Right. It's just there.
Yeah, and of course it's because our brains are not fully developed, right?
Yeah.
And we're very passionate, bro. Like I remember my 19-year-old self. Fuck, like I'm still very passionate, but at least my thoughts are able to direct my passion. In a more sensible way. Whereas before I could just believe something, and I could just automatically kind of like assume a best outcome.
Right.
But we should never assume. We should know, right? It should be a fact. And then you should be like, okay, yeah, I know that if I drive here, then through here, I'm gonna get to my destination.
Yeah.
Versus me being younger and just like, I don't know, I'm gonna get there.
We gonna do this.
Exactly. Man, coaches are so important, bro. And that's why I've become a coach. But I've also had to take a step back because I wasn't giving them the guidance that they needed. I was just giving them like the skills. But whether it be football, basketball, martial arts, or whatever, we have to train, especially boys, right? Because you could teach girls as well. But I guess I think about boys more often because football is mainly a boys' sport. There's girls involved, but it's mainly like a guy's sport. And so I think about it, and it's like we don't really have like wonderful male role models where they show like elevated forms of communicating, not only with just men but especially with the women. So when I think about my own self and when I was coaching, there was a lot of times where I wasn't a good role model.
Right.
So I had to take a step back, and I've had a lot of great opportunities to coach with really great schools and really great coaches. But I've had to kind of, at this point, obviously, virus kind of fucked it all up anyways. So everyone's kind of had to take a step back, and I kind of feel real bad for the kids, but I obviously understand. Like all the kids that had their senior year went down the drain. It hurts because I know how much that senior year meant to me. And for them to not get that, it's just like it was a weird period for everybody. It was a weird period for everybody. But like going back to this aspect of being like a good role model is like it's truly one of those works where you're not gonna get money. You're not gonna get money. But here's how I always used to visualize it in my head. I would think, when you feed the community with your time, these kids are gonna grow up knowing that somebody appreciated them. And when they become my age, at least 1 or 2 or 3 are gonna go ahead and feed it back. You know what I'm saying? And in turn, we continue to keep that cycle of people who actually appreciate my city, bro. Like this city of mine, even though it's under-resourced and it looks dirty and it doesn't really look like
it's a lot though,
bro. I would walk through the streets, bro, and I feel like a deep sense of joy. I feel a deep sense of pride. I was literally like this concrete like birth like so many different parts of my identity that it's just like no matter where I go in life, there's always I'm gonna find a way to funnel back some type of resource or opportunity, because it's just like it's a special place, man. It's a special place. It's a special idea, and that idea needs to become infectious, right? So that other people can elevate everything, like the living standards. I don't believe that we should depend on the government to elevate the living standards of South Central, Huntington Park, because they're gonna give us welfare checks, and I'm all for it. But what we need to do is we need to teach each other the right skills, like the skills again, so that you could become your business owner. And in doing so, imagine if every block had a couple business owners.
Right.
Now we could fuck around and just rebuild some shit together. But we don't have to wait on the city. We don't fucking have to ask for permission or whatever. But money's power. Right? And if you show up with your power, then they respect you. That's the thing that I don't like, but that's a true and a reality in our country, is that like only kind of like corporations or people that are very powerful get respect. You know, you can't really show up as an individual anymore. There's a bunch of reasons for that. After 2010, there was a Citizens United ruling by the Supreme Court that basically made corporations human entities, meaning that they can now compete against human beings. Corporations are the wealthiest things on the planet. Voice-wise, there's no way that we have a chance unless we corporatize things and create our own voices. But the leadership has to be an enlightened. It has to be enlightened, right? That was another thing that Nipsey Hussle was talking about. After he died, I think it was the game that on social media he posted all the books that he gave him to read. And one of those was called Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey. And John Mackey is he's the CEO of Whole Foods, right? So that's exactly what you're doing, bro. And I'm sure, have you read the book?
I haven't read the book.
Look, you haven't read the book, and you're already doing that, right? And I think there's a shift, bro. There's a shift in our community. It might have been the internet that caused that shift, that probably just sped up our awareness, that made us think like, damn, bro, like, I don't really want to live my whole life like my parents. Right. You know, and trust me, like, I love my parents, and all their sacrifices are pretty astounding, and it's incredible. It's really kind of like a miracle to see how, like, we were raised and see where we're at today, that we're still alive and healthy and flourishing. But I don't want to live that, like, rat race, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to be free. I want to be free of, like, just negative energies, negative people, negative environments.
Preach.
And the only way I could do that is by, like, again, like, working on myself, bro. Like, it's like, it's honestly such a happy, it's a happy topic for me to discuss, because I think everybody can do it. I think everybody can work on themselves. But I think sometimes we focus too much on
everybody else.
Like,
real change starts within.
Exactly.
Like, I had the saying, it kind of came from Lil Wayne. He's like, I can't change the world, but we could change the people. Like, you can't change the world, but you could change the people. Like, instead of trying to change the whole country, instead of trying to change everything that's going on in the world, change yourself, change the people around you, change the people you love. Be that little spark that, you know, don't underestimate the power of planting a seed. It's like, if you could plant that seed in everybody else, if you did all you could do, you know, talking to the people that you encounter every day, the people you see at work, at the gym, the people around you, the people that are closest to you, that have the most encounterments or the most encounters with you, then you're already doing your part. Like, one person can't change the whole world, but you could change your world. You could change what's going on in your world. You have control over that. If you can inspire other people to do the same thing, and a bunch of people working toward the same goal is more effective than one person trying to do it all themselves. Even Jordan didn't win the ring on his own. You know, you won't have to have that. Okay, he could control so much of what's going on. He can't control that, you know, all the other factors. So if you want to really make a change, you have to start with yourself. Be that example. Be that change. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Then everything else take care of itself. You're gonna start noticing all the negative people come out of your life, because you're just literally working on yourself. You don't put yourself in certain situations. You don't go around the people that are making your life difficult. You don't go back to the people, you know, making things so challenging for you and so draining. And when you take care of yourself, you could really take care of other people in ways that you don't even know. Because I have this buddy of mine that I played basketball with in high school. His name is Ozzy. Every time we link up, he tells me, hey man, I really love talking to you. He's like, I have a great time every time I'm with you. He's like, I like how you talk about things without caring, what people are going to say with such confidence. He's like, I don't know how you could do it, but like the other day, this is little thing. He's like, the other day I was with my girl, I went to the beach and I told her, hey, let's take our shoes off, let's take our socks off and put our feet in the sand. And he's like, normally I would have felt weird saying that, but it made me feel good when I do it. It felt me feel relaxed, like, earthing and stuff. You ever heard of earthing?
Yeah, I mean, it's familiar, but you can talk about it if you want.
Okay, so earthing is basically trying to get in tune with nature. It's like you're trying to ground yourself, you're trying to feel calm, like this. In these times, it's important to take care of yourself. It's important, to feel relaxed, because there's all this worry, all this anxiety in the air. Like the last year and a half has been hard on a lot of people, or last year or so, because we went on lockdown in March, right? So taking care of yourself, taking care of your emotional state is really important, especially these days, because nobody else is going to do it for you. You turn on the news, it's something crazy. It's like coronavirus, cases are lifting. In the last year, we've had coronavirus, we've had BLM, we've had the presidential election, we've had so many things go on that's just like constant hate, worry, paranoia, like what's going to happen. We have, talk about the vaccine, we had to talk about locking down the state, you can't go out. Remember there was a time where they implemented a curfew, because the coronavirus comes out at 10 o'clock apparently. Yeah, so I think it got tired or something happened, because it doesn't come out at night anymore. But there's so many things going on, it's just all this confusion. It's important to kind of stay grounded. It's important to not get overwhelmed, because once you get overwhelmed, that's when you start losing who you are, you start losing yourself, and you get caught up in things that you don't even want to be caught into. So little things like putting your feet in the sand, like going into some water, getting some fresh air, going out in nature, reading a book, unplugging your phone, turning off all the devices, like little things to just kind of avoid everything. Taking care of yourself, getting yourself grounded is going to make you feel better, and little things like that is going to make you speak to your parents better. It's going to make you speak to your spouse better, to your friends. Like you're going to be happier, you're going to have more of that sense of love instead of all the hate and anxiety going on around us. So I know it's a little thing that may seem kind of funny to people, but that little thing, like say you get some sunlight every day, like most people don't go outside. Like they go from their work to their car, back inside their house, and then they don't go outside. And then they order some fast food, and they don't exercise, they don't drink enough water because we have some soda. They always on their phone. So I don't know if you know this, the average person's attention span is only 6 seconds. That's worse than a goldfish. Goldfish is 8 seconds. A person's attention span is 6 seconds. And is it our fault? I mean, maybe, but it's because we have, in my opinion, I don't have statistics to prove it, but I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with TikTok. It has a lot to do with Vine. Remember Vine?
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with these the Twitter videos that used to be like 6 seconds. Like we're programmed to only have this attention span because that's what goes viral. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see the 2-minute videos. We want to see the few clips that it's just, oh, ha ha ha, that person's dumb, or oh, this is funny, or this is cute. So when you really take a time to, okay, let me just sit back, step away from my phone. Like how often do you check your phone? How often do you turn it off and just kind of go about your day and be outside? Like don't worry about everything else that's going around, just worry about what's going on in front of you. Like it doesn't happen too often. So when I started doing that around April, May, I got off my phone and I got I had my first anxiety attack in May, around the time when school was ending. I was finishing one of my last semesters. The whole coronavirus thing was going on. Like, family had different views on the coronavirus. Like family didn't even want to see each other. There's so much going on. So when I got off my phone, when I deactivated my Twitter, because I don't want to see any of that, I didn't download TikTok. I'm not gonna see what everybody else is doing. I got to finally be a version of myself that was authentic. I didn't have people thinking for me. I didn't see things trend, and that's an idea that gets put in my head. Is okay, I don't have all that negativity going in, and it's just like I felt like Neo in the Matrix. Like I was like, okay, like this doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me. Like it just you can't bother me with things like that. When I started going out hiking and biking and getting that sunlight, I felt my best. And when I go away from that, you start to feel down and you don't even know why. It's like, because human beings, like, try to take a step back. You know how you take a step back from all things in life? They just say this room, for example. we're human beings. We're in this room. We're in this house. Thank you for inviting me, by the way. But you look around. There's walls. There's a ceiling. Like, where in nature do you see closed, confined spaces? It's like, have you ever seen the movie Maze Runner? Or you ever see those tests where they put those little rats with the little electricity? It's like they're in a maze and there's nothing but walls. But where else in nature do you see these walls and these animals kept in cages? Kind of like zoos, kind of like, you know, if you take away all the buildings, if you go to like a rural area, if you go somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere in up north, you see nothing but trees. You see one road going this way, one way going that way. It's like a plain. It's like open space, and you don't feel small because you're not around these walls. Like, you feel free, you feel good, you feel that fresh air, you feel the sunlight. And it's like human beings weren't meant to be inside all day. So when we're constantly inside being fed all this BS through the news networks, through social media, through I don't know what's going on, through these video games, music videos, like you could go on and on really. You never really like enjoying what life is supposed to be. Like, when you go outside kind of by the beach, you just look out in the ocean, you're like, damn, this really goes on forever. Like, the ocean looks huge once you're there. If you go out, you're like, okay, I can see so far that way, to the point where I just see the horizon. I don't see anything else anymore. Like, that's how life was meant to be. Like, our ancestors didn't have all these houses or like a little tiny shed and stuff, and they weren't inside it all day. Like, most like people like in the Chicano culture, like they had Indian or native blood in them. So like they were out roaming the plains, they were out hunting, they were out going outside in packs, like they were together, they were out going all over the place. They weren't in little houses like this. So maybe that's why they felt a little differently than we did. Maybe that's why they didn't have the problems that we did. It's like we don't ever have that sense of groundedness. We don't feel free like how humans are supposed to be. We're always enclosed. We're always trapped. We're always in front of the TV.
Yeah, I think you make excellent points all across the board. Beginning with grounding yourself. In connecting with nature, because more than just physical bodies, like we also have like spirits.
Yeah.
Or we are spirits.
Energy.
So exactly.
Energy.
So like you say, there's so many prisons. There's so many prisons. There's like a lot, right? And so what happens is that we allow these prisons, the 9-to-5 lifestyle. You stay in a maze, essentially, how you said, right? And so you detach yourself from being able to be that exploratory, nomadic human being where you were constantly having to figure out solutions to problems instead of just being like, all right, fuck it, my car's gonna. I mean, cars are gonna start driving themselves soon too. Even less mental thinking, right? Motherfuckers are gonna just fucking, most likely, social media your way all the way back to home. Or whatever. Right? And of course, man, I totally understand what you mean by social media controlling what we think. I mean, so I don't think that was the intention when it was created, but it's what it's there for now. And so we do have to be very, very careful. And I remember being in even some issues with my ex relationship because I didn't know how to set proper boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
And you know, man, ladies need a lot of attention.
They do. Attention, affection, reassurance.
Those three things, guys.
Three things.
Boom. They'll keep them happy forever. So if you don't do that, man, you're fucking up. But again, bro, nature's so powerful. That's why one of the things that I want to be able to introduce to our neighborhoods is more trees, more parks, more fucking vegetables and plants and all of that. One of my homies just came through. He built me look, you can see through right real quick. Open the window and we created 2 garden beds.
Oh, you damn. Yeah, I see them.
Yeah. So, we're gonna start planting all sorts of vegetables in there very, very soon. So that's taking one step. But I want all these motherfuckers to have that.
Have a garden.
Because imagine if we could just go to the homie's house down the street and be like, hey, fool, I need some tomatoes, dog.
Yeah.
Organic.
Homegrown.
And I know that where it's coming from versus all these fucking GMO fucking companies that don't give a fuck
about you.
They don't.
They don't.
Business is business and their money comes first.
You're a dollar sign. I don't care who you are. You're a dollar sign.
Exactly. So, there's just all these little moving factors all over the place. And let me see, what else were you saying somewhere after when you spoke about, you spoke about your prisons, well, the prisons that we exist in.
I was talking about the prisons. I was talking about how you kind of hit the nail right on the head, talking about all these different cages that we're in. We gotta really kind of stay in tune with yourself, be grounded. We're meant to go all over the place. We're meant to not be confined in these little tight spaces and just kind of have something in front of our eyes like the whole time. Like even if we don't think it's harming us, like that's what you see. Your subconscious picks up on it. Like we're energy. Like when you have that energy being affected constantly with all this negativity, then it's going to take a toll on you. It's going to take a toll on what decisions you make, how you carry yourself, how you treat others, how you think about others. Like it's all a form of a sense of control in a sense.
Right. So like when it comes down to like relationships.
Okay.
Like, and I'm not even just talking about like romantic relationships with your lady or your boyfriend or whatever. I'm talking about just like the way that I choose to interact with you. We have a lot of interactions daily. So I'm very careful with that. I'm very careful. And it's not fake. It's not fake either. Like my kindness, my smiles. It's not fake. I genuinely.
No, I don't think it is either. Yeah, I can feel it. I
genuinely want to have a peaceful interaction with someone. Don't get me wrong, bro. I'm also not gonna turn a cheek. If there's some type of injustice that needs to be taken care of, or someone's trying to. So it's a little complicated. It gets a little complicated because like. If someone's trying to punk on me, then it depends on the moment. It depends on how emotionally invested I am in that moment. Where if I'm smart enough, I'll know that my ego wants to fight. And that's gonna be a bad situation.
Well, that's
and I've been there, and that's why I've learned. But if someone is attacking me and I have no other choice, then I will have to retaliate. But I don't want to engage with that. Because it's just not the smartest thing to do in general. And plus, once you start picturing and realizing how powerful your ego is and bringing destruction into your life, that's when you start learning how to like, I gotta break this, or I gotta stop this before I crash. And the last thing I want to do is crash and ruin my life before my time gets here.
Right.
And that's the thing about our own egos, is that it can give you a prepubescent death. I remember reading this book. I don't know if you've ever read The Tao of Wu by the RZA.
No, I've heard about it.
It's a very famous book. But in that book, one of the RZA's greatest homies, I think it was Ghostface. I'm not too sure on the person, but essentially what happened was that this one time there was a kid with a gun in the streets. And this kid with the gun pointed the gun at, let's just say, Ghostface. And then Ghostface's ego got in the way, and he was like, man, fuck you, you ain't gonna do shit. The kid pulled the trigger. And he died, So it just really shows you that, like, it's really important to be quick thinking and on your feet, but even more important, to not really let your ego steer everything. I think there's a time and place for it, especially like in friendly competitive atmospheres. Like basketball, for example.
Right. Sports, definitely. You have to have a.
But even then, I like that you said confidence, because in sports, you could be a healthy, badass athlete and never say shit. It's possible. He's a prime example. Now, does it sell to talk shit? Definitely, right?
Yeah.
We saw
Mayweather.
Not only Mayweather, but I'm thinking about McGregor. McGregor was the one that fucking tiptoed that scale to the next level, and now everyone in the UFC is a fucking mad shit talker. Once in a while, you see a couple badasses that don't really say a word. So, on one sense, it's like, okay, like if you're trying to play the marketing game, that's fine. I kind of get it. But what happens is that you end up taking that
outside of the ring
as yourself. And you start causing destruction all over the place. Just going back to that idea of like, when we try to interact with other human beings, I want to have a good interaction. Because you never know what someone's going through or what someone could be going through.
Oh, somebody's capable of.
Yes, and you just redirected their entire day by being cool, calm, collected, peaceful, loving, polite, and then out of nowhere they're like, you know what? These youngsters really ain't so stupid after all.
Yeah, there's hope. There's hope. I agree with you. Something that you brought up earlier is like the book Ghostface had a gun pulled on him. Okay, so that really hit home because I was on a destructive path myself when I was like not even too long ago. I want to say when I was around 20, 21. And it got to a point where I was putting myself in positions like, of course, you don't ask to be put in certain positions, but you kind of ask based off on your decisions.
You take yourself with your own actions.
You put yourself there. Like, you didn't ask for it. Like, oh, he wasn't asking to do something. I'm like, okay, let's see the events leading up to that. Let's see the lifestyle he was living. Like, okay, it's kind of his fault. It's kind of not. I get it.
There's many factors.
Yeah. So I had a gun pulled on me outside of a bar. I want to say when I was 21. I was with my brother. I was with his girl's sister, and then one of my friends. And just like the character in the story, I went, "You're not gonna do shit. You're not gonna do nothing," because it was a calm little situation. It wasn't like, oh, I was starting something at the bar. It was like just a dumb misunderstanding that turned into this dude pulled a gun, and of course, since I was a little drunk, I got ballsy and I went up to him like, "You're not gonna do nothing." So long story short, we called an Uber, and I guess this is what happened. The person who ordered it with 4 seats instead of 5 seats. So there was 3 girls that got in the car first, and the dude was driving away already, and me and my brother were trying to get into the car. So like we're like trying to get to the car. He's like, nah, get out. It's not. I'm like, what are you like? Why are you trying to take out with these? We're in this ride too. It's not like we didn't fit. So I forgot what was going on. He's like, well, what do you mean we can't go, whatever? And then he like just started. I forgot what he said. He called me something, and me being drunk, I got mad. We get out the car. We all get out the car. And then there's still some girl, like 2 girls in the back seat, and this guy just pulls a gun, pulls on his lap, and he just looks at me, and I immediately, you get that rush, and you're just like, you're not gonna do nothing. And you go up, and I'm over here, and my brother. I'm not thinking about my brother has a kid. I'm thinking about him and his girl are here, and somebody else is here. I'm not thinking about nobody else's life because of my ego, and things could have gone south real quick. Luckily, nothing happened. Everybody got out the car just to drive away. Luckily, I tested this guy's gangster, and he didn't have that much gangster in him. But what about if somebody did have that much gangster in him? He would have just popped me and then gone away, and then what happens? Or tried to shoot at me and hit my brother, then what happens? Then I got that on my life, then I'm probably, then like, damn, I got my brother killed, and I'm living with that the rest of my life. That's worse than death in my eyes. It's like when you're responsible for somebody else's death, like I now that I'm older, I'm able to reflect on moments like that, not let my ego, take over. Like, I know that every little action could have a reaction. That's, that's life. So I try to take my ego out of it as much as possible now. I try to keep a calm head. I'm not as confrontational as I once was. And I like being confrontational because, that's kind of, I don't know, that what we're raised to do over here. It's like, how you said when you're kind of like, people are pushing your buttons, but the thing is getting hot. Like, you gotta stand up for yourself and do something. But there's a time and place to do everything. You don't want to go asking for more trouble. It's just like, if you're provoked, if somebody like swings at you, obviously, like go back and swing back or something. But if things haven't got to that point yet, I'm able to keep a cool head enough to be like, okay, this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm able to think before I go and do something, or try not to put myself in the positions to go out drinking all the time, and go out, like, not go out with those friends, not go out with these people. Like, let me not put myself in that situation. It's kind of like, si ya sabes cómo me pongo porque me invitas, it's like, okay, mejor no me invito para que no me pongo así, no me vaya a poner así. So I try to, that's the pulling out a gun story, but it's definitely something that you have to watch out for. Your ego could cause a premature death. Your ego could ruin relationships where this person was supposed to still be in your life. It could be with a girlfriend, it could be with a friend, it could be with your parents, it could be with your siblings. Like, that self-destructive nature, like little actions like that, you can't let your pride, you can't let your ego, run you. You have to be able to keep a calm head. You have to be able to think about what you really want. It's like, do I really want to win this argument? Is it worth it losing this person? Or am I that invested in being right that I don't care how this person feels about it? It's like I used to date this girl. It got a little complicated, but it's like, is this worth it for me to win this argument? even though I know I don't really care about the subject like that. But it's like, this subject's important to them. So it's like, you want to pick your battles. Like, I don't really care enough to, like, they can have this. This is not going to affect me the next day. But if I say this person's going to feel some type of way about me and about themselves and about this certain subject for I don't know how long, and they're not going to forget it. So it's like, is it worth it?
No, but I still get that. I still get that feeling of like the wanting to win the argument.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, I know it's a stupid conversation, but I think I could beat you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's all those interactions. It builds our experience, you know. And like, I'm definitely, even like if I ever get married or whatever, like I don't think I'm ever gonna be a yes man. Like where it's like, like everything you tell me, I'm gonna do. Like it's because like by nature, my brain always produces a question.
Bro, same.
So if you're gonna tell me to do something, I need to make sure that it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And some people are also on their little power trips.
Yeah.
You know? Especially with the way that society is shifting, it's like some of them kind of do want to control you.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want to be controlled. Like I want to be in a situation where like we just understand each other. Like it's a certain mutual understanding where it's like I want to be able to explain this properly, because it is complicated, because in a sense it's like just because she's asking you to do something doesn't mean she's trying to control you either.
Right.
She might have some real great sense behind what she's saying, or maybe she really just needs something to get done or whatever. So it's like, first of all, I think you just gotta be open to listen. First of all, right.
Listen to understand.
Exactly.
Listen to
without
understand.
having to be like Mr. Tough Guy and be like, no, I'm not gonna let a woman tell me what to do.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Tell me what I can and cannot do. But at the same time, it's like I wouldn't think I would be too happy being somewhere where it's like I have some homies, man, where it's like they're girls basically like, you know, they're like a trapo, dude.
Yeah.
They're like a fucking trapo, and they got kids and everything, and my boys seem to be okay, but I'm like, damn, bro. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, really. That's really what it's about.
I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a great job raising your boys, which I'm very proud of. But I'll be like, damn, are women supposed to be treating you like this? Or did you do some fucked up shit in the past that now you're just dealing with, you know, with how you treated her when you were younger? Because I know for sure, you know, when we're like really young men, you know, we don't, especially men from our areas, like we don't really treat women the best way, you know. And I have my long list of regrets with interactions with women. And you know what, man, I've actually had opportunities now as a grown man to be able to talk to some of them and just be like, hey man, like you met me when I was 16, 18, 19, and
I'm sorry, man.
You know, I wanna just apologize.
Yeah.
First of all,
bro, I've done that before. I feel that I've done that.
You know,
before.
but that's a privilege. You know, that's the privilege of being able to grow older and grow wiser, and just be able to have more kinder, you know, interactions.
Yeah.
You know, with not just the opposite sex, but also like your own sex, and if any of you guys are listening to this, I'm a better guy now, man.
He's a changed man. I can feel it. I can see it. I can see what's going on.
Nah, man, but definitely, bro. Like, you know, the conversation about ego is a conversation that needs to be had, especially, you know, as a business owner.
Leave your ego at the door.
Exactly. It's gonna affect how you treat your workers. It's gonna affect everything.
Not only your workers, it's how you treat yourself, how you treat those around you. Like, you may not even notice it, but you may say like, you may be like, say working or whatever. Like they just put the little taco thing, for example. If I'm making my food or whatever, but I have this ego, like it has to be done perfectly, and if somebody's trying to help me out with it, I'm over here making them feel bad about themselves because, you know, just a quick little answer is like a little smarty remark, or I talk to them in a certain tone or a certain way. And how is that person gonna feel? It's like, bro, they're helping me out, and I'm over here, you know, like kind of being ungrateful in a way, like talking down to them. like as a business owner, you can't talk down to your workers because they're the ones that are helping you out. They're the ones that are, you know, like they're running your business for you. It's like, why would you like pop your own tires in your car when you're going to on a long road destination?
Yeah,
like,
good luck getting there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how you gonna get there? It's like no man is an island. So you can't do it on your own. One of my favorite rappers, Coda the Friend. Like if you guys haven't heard Coda the Friend, please look him up.
Coda the Friend.
Coda the Friend. Kota.
That's your homie?
No. He's
rapper.
He's a rapper that I came across. Positive messages, positive tones, positive sound, like very, you know, self-love, very, you know, in tune with nature. He actually raps about like alkaline stuff, like he's vegan.
Nice.
He's like, I don't eat it if it don't come from the ground. Like he talks about what's one of his bars? He says, polish all your skills, set your price, then you tax that. He says that in one of his songs. I'm like, this guy's speaking to me. Like, you know, he knows what's going on. And no matter what you do, understand no man is the island. So, you know, go ahead and reach out when you need help. Go ahead and try to find those people trying to have the same vision as you. It's like, nobody's going to be able to do it on their own. Granted, some people will, but even those people that did it on their own, they didn't really do it on their own. They had people to help them along the way, or they had people that supported them or connected them to somebody else. It's like, nobody does it on their own. So don't be afraid to ask for help, or don't be afraid to reach out to other people. It's like, two people running in the same direction. Okay, running is a bad example. Two people pushing, say, a giant, you know, crate full of, I don't know what, just heavy ass weight. You pushing it yourself is not going to take that long. Oh, car breaking down. Car breaking down, if you're the only one pushing, it's going to go kind of slow. But then you see other people, you know, just see that your car broke down. They're going to come help you. They'll get you to your destination where you want to be. You may feel a little embarrassed, but, you know, you got to where you were trying to be. Like, they helped you out.
Yeah.
It's like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, you're not going to do it on your own. Or some people may want to. Some people may be too prideful. Or, you know, have an ego that like, oh no, I gotta do it on my own. It's just me and myself and it's me against the world. And having that hate toward other people for no reason, or having that being reluctant to, you know, go out and actually, you know, receive help, is gonna stunt your growth. You're gonna, even if you do get there, you may get there, it may take you longer. Or granted, some people may be able to do it, but not everybody's gonna be able to do it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Leave your ego at the door. And kind of like, you know, make sure you have a good support system. Make sure you have people helping you around you. Like, together, everyone achieves more.
Facts. You know, there's a time and place for individualism, and there's a time and place for collectivism. And I love teams. Mm-hmm. I love teams, especially good teams. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been a part of fucking shitty ass teams, and I've been a part of fucking amazing teams where everything's just kind of clicking. Mm-hmm. You know, like currently, I'm in a flag football league with a great team, bro. Mm-hmm. The guys, they're just all pretty much really good guys. Mm-hmm. Really good guys, and they're also like really good athletes. Mm-hmm. So when I was like introduced into the space, I was like, damn, I just kind of like fit.
Yeah.
Like it was just like because they already had a kind of like a system, and they threw me in to see if I
it flowing.
Did well with the system, because that's how you know whether or not you're gonna be a good contributing part to the team. It's like you go in and you keep the wheels going. Yeah. Or you go in and that shit just starts fucking up, and that's when you know you're like, hey, this guy's gotta go, right? So teams are really important, and I love the bonds that are created through real teams.
Right.
And yeah, I think a real team always does need a good captain or a good leader or something, you know, and they lead with their action, and they always have to come through, and they're always gotta be skilled at what they're talking about, right? Like Gordon Ramsay couldn't be the badass that he is if he cooked like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you see his leadership skills, even if he's an asshole, whatever. That's just part of his like charisma and the show. But being a team is very, very valuable for a bunch of different things. Now, when it comes, I'm also a big fan of like being an individual. And I love the idea of being an individual, because when you're an individual, you're able to think for yourself, and you have very, very unique perspectives, and these people can teach you a lot about life, and you can also teach others about life. because on one side, I know that you were talking about how you need to ask for help. You do. Mm-hmm. But I think there's also a time where it's fair to want to learn on your own. You know,
that's where growth happens.
Right.
Yeah, you got to put yourself through things. It's like we were talking about it earlier, like the chip on your shoulder. If I don't go to Florence and I don't go to Edison, I'm not the person that I am at HP. It's of course you want. Well, I mean, you hit it right on the head. You want to be your own person. You want to have that individual, like that whole little perspective. Like you want to bring something different to something. Like being an individual makes you who you are. Like that's what makes you authentic. Like this is what makes you Jesus. This is what makes me Chris. This is, it's like, okay, we might have both gone to HP, so it's like, okay, we have similar characteristics, we have similar background, but it's like we each have something unique to contribute to it. And the team thing right away. Do you watch soccer by any chance?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, so you know that 08 Barcelona team to like 08 to like 2012.
They were the shit.
Exactly. They had Xavi, Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, of course Messi. They had Pedro and Piqué and all these people playing their role. And I was just watching the documentary that they have on Netflix, like the Pep Guardiola one. It's like he had them believe in themselves and believe that what they were doing was going to happen, but they all had to play for each other. It's like if you don't play for each other, you go in doing what you're supposed, like doing something else. Like they were interviewing Thierry Henry and they were interviewing, I forgot who else was going there, and Samuel Eto'o. They're like, these people, like even though they were good players, they had a hard time adjusting to the style of play that Barcelona was trying to play. It's like if everybody wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, if Thierry Henry doesn't go and run even though he's not going to get the ball, like because he pulls away like jala la marca, so that person defending him goes all the way out, and then Xavi is able to come in and do his own thing. If he doesn't make that fake run every single time, Xavi doesn't go ahead and do his thing, Messi doesn't score. Well, Messi probably scores either way, but somebody else doesn't score. Right. The ball doesn't keep going the way it's supposed to. Like the Warriors 14-15 team, like everybody keeping the ball running. They actually played a lot like how Coach Reed wants people to play. Like nobody really understood it because he didn't have as much success as he probably deserved to have. But that's the style of play Coach Reed teaches you. He teaches you how to move the ball, keep the ball going, go to the open spot, switch on defense, go ahead and fill the next role. Like this is what he takes his time doing it. That's kind of why he didn't go recruit other people, because especially even other athletes in school, they may not have the discipline or be able to check their ego enough to play for somebody else. They wanted to play for themselves. I'm not getting enough shots. I'm not touching the ball as much as I want. I'm not scoring as much as I should or as I would like. So they get discouraged. They don't want to do it. That's why a lot of people can't play for him, because the style of play that he wants to do is he wants you to play basketball. He doesn't want you to go out and do your own thing. Of course, it's nice if you score, you get 30, but if your team loses, then what's the point? If you can't make your teammates better when you go into the playoffs against, like Jordan, if you don't have those teammates, if you don't trust those teammates, you're not going to get as far as you probably would. So it's like, even if your teammates aren't that much better, if you can make them better, or if they're not that good, if you can make them better, if you could swing the ball at the right time and give them that confidence that they're going to make that shot, they're probably going to make that shot, then your team wins. It's like flag football, perfect example. If you go in doing your own thing, disrupting the chemistry, disrupting what they got going on, then you guys probably won't win. They probably won't like you. You're going to feel bad about yourself. It's like, why am I not performing the way I'm supposed to? Then everything just gets fucked up. But if you go in and be like, okay, I'm going to buy into the system. I'm going to go ahead and play for somebody else. Like, not only do they want to pass you the ball because they know it's going to come back to them, or they know it's going to go around, like everybody's happy. So it's not just about me. It's not just, of course, there's a moment to be me. I got to go in and put in the hours in practice. I got to go and get those shots up when nobody else is there. I got to go in and want to be better. And me wanting to be better while keeping that same core values, like I got to play for my teammates, then I have this role. I'm going to play it the best I can. So when I'm in practice, I'm going to practice what I'm going to do in the game. It's like, if I know that I got to swing the ball this way, or if I got to pass it to this guy, or if I got to shoot it right here and then I'm going to go ahead and do that to the best of my ability and play for somebody else. But if I'm not buying into the system, if I'm not understanding what we're trying to do all together, like como estamos, it's not going to work. You have to play for each other. You have to want to make other people better. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, you ever play basketball? It's kind of like
not like organized, bro. Just at the park.
Okay.
With random ass foods, but
the perfect example is like Rajon Rondo. It's like he's
a great passer.
Great passer. he makes his teammates better and he gives them that confidence. Even though he scores 2 points a game, he'll get like games where he has 20 assists, 25 assists. He has a game on the stat sheet, he had 2 points, 25 assists, and like 15 rebounds or something.
I'll take that.
I'll take that because his team is going to win and his teammates are going to like him.
Yeah, that means he just facilitated like a quarter of the game points.
Exactly. It's probably more than that, if anything. Because it was a low-scoring game. He had like the ball in his hand, but he keeps everybody happy. He keeps them on check. Everybody playing the role. Like sometimes you just have to play your role, and you'll see how much more fun you have doing something when you're not doing it for selfish reasons. When you're not doing it for individual awards. When you know you're gonna win the championship at the end of the year, or when that's even possible. So it's like doing for others. Like it makes you feel good about yourself. Like if you ever hand somebody something randomly, or you ever give somebody something, like nobody expects anything these days. It's unheard of to walk up to somebody and like maybe give them some food, or walk up to somebody, give them a shirt, give them some shoes. Like nobody does that, or at least in this area. So it's like if you could share that and make somebody feel happy, like who knows how that's gonna make them feel that day, like you were saying earlier. Who knows how that's gonna change the course of the day, how they look about people, how they treat other people. Like you could infect that feeling, that doing well for others to somebody else, and not only do you make their life better, but maybe they make somebody else's life better, and you know you have that little hockey assist that you don't even know about because you know these people are better people just because of that one random act of kindness that you have.
Yeah, and dude, I love that about playing your role in a team versus trying to be the MVP of the team, and connecting it to having fun,
right?
And like playing your part, and it's just like as a team member of many different places, I can see that, and I can also see how wanting to do more than I should have also brought a little bit of unhappiness because maybe you blew the play because you tried to do too much, or you tried to take on somebody else's assignment because you thought that's where you were gonna make a play, but now you left your assignment wide open. It gives an opportunity for a wide open touchdown, a wide open three, whatever it may be. It's just like when you're in a team setting, the team comes first.
Always.
And that's one thing that not only the sports teach us, but that we're gonna be able to utilize outside of sports when we get into
real life,
whatever endeavors we're gonna do. But while at the same time, I'm very passionate about like martial arts.
Okay, I seen that.
Where that now is your space to challenge your own mental fortitude and
your own discipline.
And your own discipline, because now you don't have a team to be like, they're like, hey Jesus man, you haven't been showing up. You know, there's no accountability.
Yeah.
There's no exterior accountability. It's all personal accountability. So I just want to urge everybody to seek strong teams so that they can hold you accountable, but also seek personal challenges, because those personal challenges are going to make you a better teammate.
Yes.
Not all the time, because maybe you're a great individual. So now you show up and you want to be like,
yeah, like I'm LeBron.
Mr. Big Dick, right? And that's it. It. And not everyone's LeBron.
Not everybody's LeBron.
It's very
I could be a good Caruso though. I could be a nice Alex Caruso, man.
Dude, Caruso's the shit.
Bro, I love Caruso, man.
Dude, isn't he such a I don't know him obviously, but like he seems like such a humble, dope dude.
Yeah.
Where he shows up, he fucking does his job, he does it really fucking well.
And he tries. You could tell he's putting in effort every time he's out there.
Alright.
Yeah. If you don't have Alex Caruso on a lot of teams could use an Alex Caruso. It may not just be him. It could be like a six man. So, like the Lakers have Lamar Odom in 2010, 2000.
Man, that man put in so much work.
It's like I understand him coming off the bench, but not everybody is willing to come off the bench. Like,
right.
Leave your ego at the door. He could have been starting for way other teams. And it's not just like in a sports aspect. If you put yourself, if you humble yourself, even though you know you're capable of something, like your time is gonna come. And then when it comes, just be ready. Like just stay ready. You don't have to get ready. Like even though you know you're capable of these things, okay, cool. So you should know you're gonna flourish in this bench role. If I know I'm good enough to be a starter, when I go in as a bench player, I'm gonna be playing against other bench players. I could do my thing. Like why would I be upset at that? It's kind of always like how you take things, how you look at things. So if you're able to look at things like, okay, just it's all about perspective. Like glass half full, always having that positive approach.
Yeah, when one of my homegirls that started watching my podcast, she was like, "Hey, I noticed that you're always drinking water bottles, and she was like, can I like buy you a jug so you don't have to keep using them?" And I was like, first of all, leave me alone. Right? I'm just trying to drink some water.
Yeah.
But second of all, I was like, nah, you got a point. So I ended up, I went to GNC like last month and I bought myself some vitamins because I was like, you gotta be real healthy.
Yeah.
Especially during these times. Very healthy. And then I saw the jug and I was like, it's a moderate size. You know how there's the really big ones?
Yeah, the little 3 liter ones.
Yeah, they're too big for me. And then there's really small ones, and I was like, that seems to be okay. That seems to be alright.
I get the job done.
Especially for like when I go out there and I do my activities, and it's enough water. Because I'm super active, bro. In fact, right now, at this moment in time, I'm probably the most active I've ever been.
Oh, wow.
Because, so today's my day off from a workout. But I'm still gonna go hit jiu-jitsu after, which is it's like, basketball's pretty intense cardio wise. When you're really hustling. That one, I would say, but depends. I've never played basketball competitively, but I'm sure. So soccer and basketball, they're very, very cardiovascular, where like it fucking pushes your cardio nasty, right? Jiu-jitsu also pushes it, but it's a little bit more intense because someone's trying to choke you out.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to choke someone out, and in that moment, you just like you fucking hit the gas, and then if you don't choke them out, it's like you just fucking wasted all that gas for nothing.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that people just tap, but your round is still 5-6 minutes, so you still got 3 more minutes of and then it's just like holy shit. So I do that pretty much. I'm trying to do it every day so that I can be consistent, right? Like you're very familiar with creating a habit.
Yeah.
You got to do it every day for 30 days minimum. And then you create a habit. So I've been working out consistently now for about 4 months. I took a week off somewhere along the way because I got sick. And obviously when you get sick, you got to like just chill and let your body heal. And so I created that habit to now every fucking day, my brain's like, you have to get it done. And if I don't do it, I'll feel real guilty.
Feel off.
And I don't want to feel that. But I'm glad that I've been able to hijack my own brain to make me feel guilty about not doing something that's positive and good for me. Right? Instead of my brain being hijacked by some bullshit that's not going to contribute to my well-being. Right? So back to the point about this being like the most active I've ever been, bro, because there's days where I'm doing basically 2 workouts per day. So I was like, you know what, bro, I got to give my body everything it needs, right? So I went to go get my vitamins from GNC, whatever. That's locked and loaded. On top of that, I'm also a big fan of mushrooms and mycelium. There's a great man by the name of Paul Stamets. This guy has a beautiful story, man. I'll share it really quickly, just to share my love for mushrooms. So Paul Stamets, he's like a genius, and he was basically like, I think, the person in America that popularized the studying of mycelium. Mycelium is the underground network that basically connects all wildlife. So it's mushrooms. It's their system, like just like we have like a Wi-Fi cloud that connects to the internet. Mycelium connects all wildlife, trees, grass, flowers. There's a network underground, and this mycelium, these mushrooms, they precede human beings by millions of years. They're part of our ancestors, right? So that there's just so much history, so much involved in there. So, anyways, there's so many different types of mushrooms, and they're all very, very medicinal. Right? So lion's mane is supposed to help you regenerate your neurons in your brain to keep you moderately sharp.
Your
right?
mental
Exactly.
Cognitive Cognitive function.
Right? Super, super important. And it also helps to diminish your potential of getting dementia when you're older on. And, you know, I think our community has that a lot in older people. So, again, we got to take the opportunity when we're younger to start just protecting yourself. Protecting yourself. Another one that I utilize is chaga. And chaga is an antioxidant, right? So it keeps you as healthy as you can and as younger as you can. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we're all gonna fucking get old and die, whatever. That's all part of life. But here's a story about Paul Stamets. So he was a young boy, and he stuttered a lot, like a crazy amount of stuttering. Have you ever met people that have like pretty hard stutters?
Yeah.
That was him. And so somehow, some way, when he was out in the wilderness, you know, he was away from his house. He came across magic mushrooms, psychedelics. Yeah. He was curious, and he ate a large amount. Once he ate them, he was a kid. He used to love climbing the trees out there. He climbed the tree, and in the midst of all of that, the shrooms hit him strong.
No, if he eats a lot of them, they're gonna smack.
And then on top of that, a storm unleashed with lightning and everything. And so the point is, according to him, and through the version of his story, the mushrooms cured his stuttering that night. And so what I'm trying to say is that I don't know the exact science. And in fact, I've talked to counselors, and they've said that it's been studied, and some of them don't really believe in the power of psychedelics to help people psychologically, but others do believe they can. You know, it's one of those things where you got to do your own research. Yeah. You know, but I've become a strong proponent. You know, not only psychedelic use for adults. Over 25, I'll just say that.
When the brain's fully function.
Yeah, and you have to make your own choice based off of that. I've also been a proponent of counselors and therapy, utilizing that for people who might have some type of disease, terminal disease, where they're trying to deal with their imminent death that's coming soon, to kind of just understand
the psychological nerves and stuff,
and that it's okay. It's okay. Like, death is natural, and
nothing to be feared.
Exactly. These psychedelics help you understand and see your
I've had some people.
Your integral connection to the soil.
Yeah, you see the trees breathing, man. Like, it's like heartbeat.
Exactly, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know that we're not the supreme life on Earth. Yeah. In fact, there's other life far more important than us. Yeah. But again, you know, it's these mechanisms that are important to be introduced to life, to be able to say, hey, this is beneficial. In fact, you know, when we compare, you know, even psychedelic mushrooms to, let's say, cocaine or something.
Prescription drugs.
Like, they're all highly addictive. Highly addictive. They're not going to bring a lot of good stuff to your body.
They destroy your immune system.
Exactly. Versus mushrooms or whatever, they're not even addictive at all. So,
I haven't done them in a while. So.
Me neither. But the point is that, and that's the beautiful thing that you said that, because, you know, that's the point. Is that you don't need to reset your brain all the time, in the sense where it's like your body knows, your body gets this medicine, and then if it gets the shock, and it's like, hey, I don't need that shit again. Maybe in a couple of years, maybe in a couple of months, maybe in a couple of weeks, whatever it is. It's not gonna be like all the other substances where it's like, oh, I need some more. I need some more. Your body wants it crazy.
You have to withdraw.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, man, turning it back onto...
We could talk about that all day, man. It's so many positive things that come from that. I used to smoke weed heavy. Yeah. After I did shrooms, I didn't really smoke like that anymore. And like that reset, I was able to kind of be in tune with myself and with nature and with everybody else. Like, I was just able to... I had a good experience on it. I felt calm. I felt grounded. You know, because I was out in the mountains. You know, doing that. I saw the trees breathing. I saw, you know, a bunch of nature. I was like barefoot. You know, going through the whole thing, like the whole 9 yards. When after I did it for like the second time, like I stopped smoking for like about 2-3 months, which was like a big thing, going from like smoking maybe
every day.
about every day, yeah, every day. Because I mean, I'm not getting too into it, but I used to be around it all the time. After I did the mushrooms, I didn't really feel the need to do it anymore. It's kind of like not only the stutter, but people that have like traumatic experiences that they may have PTSD over something, or they may have some people, in some cases, that they're paranoid schizophrenics, or they have these other brain disorders that are going on, and they do shrooms, and it helps them kind of take a step back from all that. But also, you brought up therapy. Like I agree that not only be prescribed for therapy, but therapy itself should be something that everybody's open to. I wanted to touch on that as well. It's these people know what they're doing. That's the reason they have this job. Like, there's a reason they're in this profession, because people need this. Like, it's not normalized to have therapy, especially where we're from. They're like, oh, you're crazy because you have a therapist. Like, you have issues with you. Like, no. I mean, maybe.
Well, I have issues.
Yeah, I have issues, but
we shouldn't stigmatize.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they know what they're doing. It's kind of like not like having a friend, because they're not really your friend. I mean, they're kind of your friend, but it's helping you realize things on your own. Like, they won't give you the answers to your problems, but they'll help you come up with the answers on your own. Like, whatever you feel like that may be. Maybe sometimes people just need to be heard. Maybe sometimes somebody just wants to get something out. Like, therapy has multiple things, multiple benefits to it, and it should be normalized, especially when, I mean, around here, people see traumatic things since they're little kids. Like, their friends pass away at an early age. Like, they see drive-bys. Like, they're in a store when it's getting robbed. Like, they have a gun pulled on them. Like, they have so many traumatic experiences since an early age, and they think it's normal life. And then some people, granted, from this area, never leave the four corners of their block, and they just come around the same area all the time. But when you go other places, they feel weird and uncomfortable, and it's like, oh, they shouldn't be like that, or it's like, oh, I shouldn't hug this person, or I shouldn't show affection. It's like, therapy helps with all of that. It helps you understand yourself, it helps you understand what you're going through, and it helps you kind of, it's a little reset button as well. Like, it's definitely a necessity, and I feel like it should be normalized. So if anybody is curious about trying therapy, or feels like they need to talk to somebody, or feels like they need help with their mental health, take care of yourself. Therapy is not something for crazy people. I mean, some crazy people may have therapy, but I mean, everybody can benefit from therapy. I know therapists that have therapists. It's kind of like trainers who have trainers, or like athletes who have, like, everybody needs more help. You could always get better. So if you're interested in taking care of your mental health, if you've always been curious about going with therapy, I know if you have Medicare, or if you have Medi-Cal, I think that's what it is. And if you're under the age of 18 watching this, or if you're older and you know a kid that may, be trouble, may need somebody to talk to, therapy is free for those kids, for minors. And there's also other programs for adults as well. So the resources are out there, we just kind of have to find them. So I wanted to touch on that for a little bit.
It's super important. Super important. I myself have had a series of different therapists across time. I've done group therapy, and it's all been super, super, super helpful. But here's the thing: if you're gonna go, keep it real with them. Mm-hmm. Just be honest.
Be honest.
Just throw it all out. Because what happens is that if you go out there and you pretend to be you pretend like you're okay, they're not gonna help you. Because they're gonna be like, "Well, sir, you're doing well." Mm-hmm. Because you just lied to them, and you can always lie to people, but you can never really bullshit yourself. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, every time you go home and you shower and you look at yourself in the mirror, you know exactly
what's going on,
who you are, mm-hmm. and what's going on. And so it's like, dude, it's like going to work out, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't give your best effort.
You cheat your reps.
You cheat everything, mm-hmm. and then you go home and you have some stupid ass meal that's not gonna help you. And then like 3 months later, you're like, why am I still fat?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're still fat because
you're cheating yourself.
You're not working hard
mm-hmm.
towards that end. And we live in a society where everyone wants to fucking get everything the fast way, so they're gonna do the fucking liposuction bullshit and all that.
The butt lifts and stuff, it's like all that.
And it's like, dude, you can work hard and
feel better about yourself.
Feel better mentally. That's the best thing about working out. Cause look, man, you have your body type, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You were born and you look that way, and you don't have to look any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're eating well and you're working out every day, and you still look how you look. Oh well, you're healthy. I guarantee you're still a lot more healthy than you used to be, and you're a lot more healthy than some people that look good, but they're not really taking care of their inside. They're not healthy here, they're not healthy here, and they're not healthy in their body. Right? So like this holistic approach towards trying to like heal ourselves definitely is here first. So therapy is fucking crucial. Like I said, I've been in group therapy, I've been in individual therapy, and I've also, so one of my favorite forms of therapy is, we call it the hombre círculo. This is my favorite. This is special. This is a hella special because it's a bunch of basically, you know, it's a bunch of Chicanos, old school motherfuckers. From the oldest fools there are probably in their 70s, 60s,
oh wow,
50s. There's guys from every generation. In fact, I've even seen guys younger than me, but I'm normally one of the younger people in there. But regardless, bro, you know, their whole mindset is la cultura cura, and it's just understanding that, yeah, of course, you know, therapy is important, even though it was created, at least as we know it, as it's commonly expressed in the United States. It's very white. I just say white. So they basically apply those healing ideas, but through ancient traditional methods, you know.
That sounds dope.
Where our ancestors on this side of the hemisphere, they used to have hombre círculos. You know, like this knowledge is literally being passed down through thousands of years. And when I stumbled across it, like I just knew. Like, you know, like your heart, your spirit is like, I've been here before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know this is home, bro. The first time I stepped into that room, and I saw the altar, and I saw all the nice, cute colors and everything they had. Because everyone that goes, they get to bring a piece of themselves, and it's obviously connected to the old ways, those old traditions. And so that's essentially what that circle is, bro. It's like, man, come, and you can share your greatest joys, you can share your greatest sorrows, and everyone just listens. Because, you know, that's what the elder says. The elder Armando, he says, that's what we used to do. You know, men and women, we always have our problems, so we have to go sit with each other, just men, and talk about shit, and talk about it, but in a healthy way. You know, in a way where it's like, I'm all for drinking, I'm all for smoking, do whatever you want to do.
The same thing, man.
But in that space, it's not. We don't do that in that space. You know, because you want to come in there with a clear head, a clear mind. Like you said, right? Obviously, we're not going to judge somebody,
right?
Because being there is already a step forward in your healing. But bro, these men have literally changed my life, bro. This is the only reason why I can say that today I'm a kinder man, a more compassionate man, a more empathetic man. And it was because I started to see men model what it was like to be a healthy man, to bring your boy and to kiss him and to hug him, and I'll be like, whoa,
bro, little things like that, man. Yeah.
And a lot of people might hear this and be like, wow,
what?
Like, you serious? Are you impressed by that?
Bro, I feel that, man. Everybody that, like, my friends that come over, like, you don't kiss your parents? I'm like, bro, I don't think I remember ever kissing my parents. I don't remember ever even hugging them, except for, like, when I came back from college or when I went away for college. Like, besides that, I don't really, like, that's not something that we did in none of our family. Like, I don't see that. Maybe when I see my cousins or my uncles, but in the immediate family, it's not like that. And then when you do get it, they kind of pick on you. They're like, oh, it is chiquiada, like, you have that effect, and it's just like negative, so you don't want it no more. You kind of shy away from it. But having that love from your parents and from your siblings, like, it goes a long way. So if you're watching this, hug your parents, kiss your parents, you know, hug your siblings, tell them you love them, support them with everything they have going on. They may annoy you. I understand that. It could get annoying, especially when you have a lot of siblings, you know. But support them. show that affection, because it goes a long way. Like, maybe they needed that day. Maybe that will spark something to make them have compassion toward other people. Like, your son will grow up to be empathetic and respect women instead of, just kind of treating them like objects. Because when you don't have these encounters with humans or with adults or with other people, then you don't see people as human. You just kind of like, oh, this is a person.
Something you can use for your own advantage.
Exactly.
Only.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and the only reason why I brought that up, obviously, was because we were talking about therapy,
Mm-hmm.
And I always invite everyone, Obviously, right now they do it virtual, which is not the same, not at all, not even remotely the same, because trust me, bro, the healing energy of that space.
It has to do with the room, the people there.
Yes,
yeah.
it's not really for everybody. I'll admit that,
Mm-hmm.
because I've invited some people and they didn't really like it or whatever, and that's fine. It's not for them. But like I know what healing and loving energy is like, and that place is it. And there's powerful men there, powerful. I'm talking about motherfuckers that are about their shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't just talk about it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of talk, but these guys have lived through it, been through it, transformed their own lives, and have helped now transform the lives of many others. And fuck, man, I gotta say, I appreciate all of those guys so much. I do. And they adopted me, man. They adopted me.
Feels nice.
It really did. It really did. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that perspective, for that change, for them giving me a space to share some of the things that really hurt me in my life, for not judging me, for just understanding, and just welcoming me to their family, and that's why it's just so important to take the teachings and live the teachings. Man, I'm telling you, I'll stop talking about it, but I'll just end with this, man. Every single one of those guys has taught me something valuable, and once it opens back up, I'll be more than happy to shoot you the address.
I'll pull up, man. I'll pull up.
And you will see, and I want you to see it, just because I really believe in the healing power, and the healing energy of healing circles, especially these, because that's the only way I can connect to my ancient roots,
right,
of this side of the hemisphere, and there's not enough. I want more. I want more, because I know the history. I know the history, and I know that I'm just as much from here than I am as much from the other side of the hemisphere.
Right.
And that's okay. But I don't want to connect too much. I'll accept whatever it comes from the other side. In fact, maybe one day I'll get to visit out there. But the point is that there's so much power, bro. Like, I just, when I'm able to connect with those like indigenous roots from this side of the hemisphere, I feel like I belong.
Right.
I don't.
You're home.
Yeah.
You're
There's
home.
no sort of immigrant idea. There's no sort of like alien to the land. There's none of that. Like, that's why every time I walk through the neighborhood, I don't feel anything negative. I don't. I just feel like, yo, man, we've been here forever. I'm good.
Yeah.
I feel great.
Yeah. I agree. It's kind of like when you meet people from outside of this area, whenever like you're in another city or in another part of like LA, you always like you tell them where you're from, and they're like, oh wow, like they kind of look at you a certain way. It's like, oh, is it dangerous where you are? Like, do you see a lot of cops? Do you see like a lot of things? I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it's unfortunate that we think that's normal, but this is what home is. This is where we were raised. Like, I don't ever want to be ashamed of where I came from. I'm proud of where I came from. I went to, little background, when I came back from Wisconsin, I went to a couple different schools. I went to Compton Community College, and I went to, my last school was Orange Coast College. So I was in Costa Mesa. So I would go over there, and in my public speaking class, we would have to give like a cultural artifact. So I brought a Tams bag.
Sick.
Yeah, so
that's
they,
gangster.
so they never they're like, oh, what is Tams? Like the only people that knew what Tams was the two black kids in class. I was like, oh, okay. They could relate. Hola, buenas. So when I brought this Tams bag and it's this cultural artifact, I get this whole speech on it, like what Tams is, what they offer. Like, you know, the Tams right by HP, like you get that dollar burger, you know, and then I mean, you set because as a kid in high school,
that shit was big,
bro. It was
that
like
shit was
big.
not an ordinary burger.
Exactly. I mean,
I would rather have that dollar burger at the time than a dollar burger from McDonald's.
Any day of the week.
Anytime.
Any day. Yeah. I mean, going from HP, you have it right in the corner. So I took the Tams back, and you know, I gave him a little speech on the culture over here and like the lifestyle. And everybody was like looking at me in awe because it wasn't just about Tams bag. It wasn't just about the food. Like that's about the area where I'm from. And if you see that Tams bag anywhere, if you see that sign, people around this area are gonna understand what that is. Like, you know, this is where I'm from. Like if you know HP, you know South Central, you know Tams.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Everybody knows Tams. So I brought the Tams bag and I gave him, you know, my South Central LA, like that was the speech that I gave, like that was my culture, that was my cultural artifact. And I remember speaking, even though I was talking about, I brought the Tams as my cultural artifact, I was talking about like life over here. I was talking about one of my neighbors that was recently deceased. I was talking about like understanding how even though some people make choices that put them through certain things in their life, it may not always be like, okay, was it really his choice? If somebody was around a certain atmosphere, if some kid was born into like a family where they weren't doing positive things, when they weren't doing, you know, ideal things like staying out of trouble, like going into like the gang life or something, it's like it's not that kid's fault that that's what he knows. So yeah, he grows up to live his life, and we could say he made these decisions, but did he really make these decisions, or was it made for him? Mm-hmm. Because he had, say, family that was affiliated. Those were the influences that he had. Those were the role models that he had. So is it really his choice what he did and how his life was cut short? I'm like, maybe, yes. Like, oh, you could debate about this. You could be like, he chose that. He could have got out of it. I'm like, when you always have these negative energies or all these things, all these influences in your life, if your family does it, your girlfriend does it, your sisters do it, or your brothers do it, or whatever, that's the life that you live. That's all you know. If you never take these classes, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what you're doing. In a sense, you don't understand that it doesn't have to be this way. But to you, that's normal life. So in the speech that I was giving, I was talking about how, yeah, maybe he chose his life, but maybe he really didn't, because that was the life that was given to him. As opposed to kids from Orange County hearing the story, they're driving their nice cars, like their parents have well-paying jobs, they're used to having all these resources, but they're not used to being right there on Crockett Boulevard, you know, seeing, you know, cops patrol all the time, having, you know, people doing donuts like on the block, you know, hearing drive-bys like a couple blocks away on Bell Avenue or on Luke Dillon or down Nadu, like in front of the church, like in front of, you know, Rose Market and stuff. Like they don't know what that is. They don't know what that's like. Knowing somebody that passed away way too young, like they don't know what that's like. So it comes from understanding. So that's why I brought the Tams bag. The Tams bag means more than just a Tams bag. The Tams bag is life over here, like kind of what you go through on a daily basis, hearing the helicopters at night, but being able to sleep because that's normal to you. So like the first time going out of the hood and sleeping, like in Wisconsin, it was too quiet. I couldn't fall asleep the first couple of days. But I needed helicopters.
You're like, dude,
like what?
Am I gonna get killed right now?
Bro, I was so uncomfortable being in that area because the first time in my life as a 17-year-old, I turned 18 over there. It was my first time being around white people. It was my first time being in an area with no signal. It was the first time kind of being out in nature, like in a sense. It was my first time seeing snow, my first time being on a boat and being like around water. It was my first time doing so many things, and I remember being so uncomfortable, but then I remember looking up and seeing all the stars, seeing the clear water, seeing how random strangers would greet you, like walking down the street. Right here, you want to look past people. You don't even look at people sometimes. Because you're like, oh, I don't know where that person's from.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're
it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, why is that person looking at me? When I went to Wisconsin, I got people saying hello to me all the time. They will pass by. I don't even know them. I see them around campus. I don't know who they are. All the staff don't know who they are, but they're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, what's going on over here? So that's where I got that sense of being polite, being friendly, because I got exposed to that over there. It's like there's no reason to dog somebody. There's no reason to be suspicious of somebody. They were saying hello. The thing that got me was I had a teammate. He was like, "Howdy, Chris." I was like, "You motherfucker say howdy." He's like, "Where am I?" Howdy,
sir.
I'm like, and the next time he said, "What's up?" I'm like, "Oh no, man, give me the howdy. Give me the howdy. I need that's good. I like that.
Be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself, man. Don't give me that." So when I went to Wisconsin, it was a major culture shock. Not only would people think culture shock, they think just the food. It's not just the food, it's the people. It's how the people treat you. It's how the air smells. It's how the water tastes. It's how the sky looks. Like, you don't see no airplanes like spraying random cloud things all the time. You don't see clouds that don't look like clouds, that are just gray. You see clouds that look like clouds. You see the moon. You see stars. You see
there's
nature.
no artificial shit.
Nothing. The water that they drank came from this Lake Superior, which is the biggest freshwater lake in the world. My school was literally a block away from that. So that whole town uses water from Lake Superior to do everything. That's their water source. When I came back to LA, I tasted the water. I'm like, what's this? Like, this tastes off.
Some garbage.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going a little bit off topic. But being friendly to people, that's why I picked it up. Saying hi to people, not being ashamed of where you're from, kind of like representing something, but knowing you don't have to be angry at everybody. Like, you don't have to be suspicious of everybody. Yes, you want to keep your guard up. Yes, you want to know where you're from, but always be adapting, always be evolving. If you haven't traveled, I suggest you travel. If you have the opportunity to live somewhere else for an extended amount of time, try to get as far away from as possible. Yeah, you're going to get homesick, but you're going to be a better person for it, because you're going to see how big the world really is. You won't see, oh, all I see is HP, all I see is South Central, all I know is this tag, these rundown streets, these police, these people that you don't really trust, like looking down when you walk, not walking with your head up because you don't want to make eye contact with somebody. It's you see how different the world is in every little section. It's like a different world out there. The world is so huge, like you just have to see it. The world's really small, but it's so big because there's so many places. You have to leave just so you can come back and really appreciate what's going on, or you could take something that you've learned somewhere else. Like, for example, I'm sure when you were in high school, you probably wouldn't want to go to that therapy session. You probably wouldn't want to go to that group thing. You think it's a little weird, maybe. I don't want to assume anything, but I know I'd probably think it was weird. But being open and always evolving, you can have that influence on somebody else. So I suggest you do it. Well, to anybody who's watching.
100%. Of course I would have felt it was weird. I probably would have been like, oh man, it's some fucking weird cult bullshit or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've always had like a level of like cynicism and also a mistrust. You know, but again, that's all socialization, right? You're like, yeah, I got taught to not trusting people. Yeah. Because people act shady. Dumb all the time and shady, right? But I've learned to let go of that. Yeah. Because all of that is just it's just mud. Somewhere along the way, somebody muddied my waters. Yeah. But somewhere along the way, someone reclaimed them. And so now, as a grown person, I get to choose whether I allow this person to muddy my waters or not. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you have dirty shoes and I have a nice carpet and I know you're gonna come in here and fuck it up, I'm gonna be like, look, bro, you got two choices. Either you go home or you take off your shoes. You know? Yeah. And so that's why I've become such a fan of like words, because it's like, as human beings, we're some of the most evolved species on this planet, where we can utilize our language to be clear with what the fuck we're trying to communicate. Our body language is the first way to communicate, obviously. And we understand that language subconsciously and consciously. But the rest of the 20-30% is going to be with the words. And that's where there shouldn't be any more misunderstandings. Yeah. But we still have misunderstandings, and that's okay, and that's normal. If I said what I said and it didn't make any sense, now you as a person need to say, hey, I didn't understand what you just said. Yeah. Can you re-say that? You know what I mean?
Like, help me get it. Like, I want to understand it.
And then now I'm going to say it again. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to say it again. Yeah. But we got to learn how to express that. And that's one thing that sometimes we're too afraid to express, because we're too afraid to be seen as dumb, as as a burro, you know. This is why I have a burro on the book,
Burro right
man.
there.
Because I'm stubborn.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a burro. But even a burro can't leave the farm.
Yeah, yeah.
You leave the farm, you expand your mind, and then you're like, you know what? I'm ready to go back to the farm.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back to the farm. Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, Chris, I'm so happy, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me,
for
man.
coming on over, man, and just kind of, like I said, having a conversation. You know, we just had a conversation, and you know, started cooking and stuff. So that's my key.
That's the key.
But where can people tap into your business? And I didn't even get to tap into talking about the animal cruelty and stuff. But we'll have a future opportunities to come back and continue to talk. But if people want to learn more about your business, fucking delicious, yo. I'm addicted to something new, man. Where can people contact you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram right now. I'm gonna make a TikTok pretty soon, even though I try to stay off social media. I gotta make it so that people, they can find out about it. You can go to @TovarsTacos, TOVARS tacos, all one word. Just go ahead and hit the follow, slide in my DMs, let me know what you want. I try to get it on and popping for you. Take my time with it. I don't try to rush it. I won't give it to you if it's not good. I test out the batch before I give it out all the time, because it has to, like, I'm a perfectionist. It has to be good. If you haven't tried it, please try it. I'm not just saying this to promote my things. All the vegans in the area that come around and try it, they tell me it's the best vegan food that they've ever had. Because I do vegan street tacos. You can reach me at TovarsTacos on Instagram, @TovarsTacos, TOVARS on tacos. Just all one word on Instagram. Go ahead and slide in my DMs. Tell me what you want, and I'll try to make it for you. I use all vegan products, all organic products, and I make everything from scratch. I don't use Beyond Meat. I don't use tofu. I don't use Impossible Meat. I make it out of a certain base that's a plant. Obviously, I'm not gonna give you my secret recipe, but I will tell you it's all plant and organic. You can go ahead and let me know what you want. I make it all with love. I take my time. If it's not good, I'm not gonna send it out. So I test out the batch before I go ahead and sell it. All the vegans that have ate my food, or even non-vegans, or they're trying to incorporate more plant-based meals into their diet, they all enjoy it, because it's literally street tacos. It's like if you went to the carreta on the corner of your house, you're like, oh, I want some tacos al pastor or tacos asada. I swear to you, they taste just like it. If it didn't taste just like it, I would not be promoting it. I'm only as good as my word. So if you haven't tried it, I suggest you try it. It's affordable. I don't tax people like crazy. I got huge burritos, I got mulitas, and I got tacos. So if you haven't tried them, you want to support, local business. If you want to try some vegan food that's not too expensive, that actually tastes pretty good, and it doesn't taste like a bunch of plants. It's like, dang, I can't even taste this is vegan. Go ahead and, give me a shout. Let me know what's going on, and I'll try to handle it for you.
Boom. Tap in, guys. Today. Not later. Tap in, guys. Thank you again, man.
No problem,
thank you so much. It was a great honor, man. And guys, as always, guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, man. Comment, subscribe, share this with the world, and I'll see you guys next time.
Peace.